So good evening, guys. Welcome to another edition of Code Tribe. So today we are going to be talking about Git and GitHub, and we are going to make it as practical as it can be. So before I dive into GitHub, I want to start with Git first before I jump into GitHub. Okay, so what is Git? That's the first question you should ask yourself. I'm not going to bore you with too much story about the definition, the history, or this or that about Git and GitHub and stuff like that. We just want to get practical. Basically, Git and GitHub for a developer, whether a front end or a back end, you need Git and GitHub throughout your career. You'll definitely be interacting with Git and GitHub throughout your career. So you definitely need to know some basic things about Git and GitHub, like basic commands, like readily used commands. Okay, but before we jump into that, let's just start from the very beginning. Okay, I'm going to take this as slow and simplified as it can get, so we don't get lost anywhere. So for the start, like they all say, go to Google, go to any search engine and just type what is Git. What you will see is that what Git is a virtual control system. You can decide to read further on who invented Git, who is managing Git as of now. But what you just need to know is that Git is used for three basic things, to my own understanding. So the first thing you need to know is that Git is used for tracking code changes. Git is used for tracking who made those changes. And Git is also used for coding collaboration. That's for collaboration within two or more other people around anywhere in the world. Okay, so those are the three basic things that Git is used for. And what does Git do? Okay, Git manage your projects with repositories. Don't worry, we are going to talk about what a repository is. All right, then you can clone your projects or your work from on your local computer. That's to make a local copy of what is in the cloud, of your project that is in the cloud. I don't want to be mixing, but right now I'm just talking about Git. We are going to talk about Git staging, committing. We are going to talk about branch. We are going to talk about merge. We are going to talk about pull and push. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning of Git. And there are other version control system. We have other like GitLab and the likes of them. But majorly, virtually there's a large percentage of developers that uses Git. Okay, there are other ones. All right. So let's get started with Git. So the first thing you need to do is, if you're currently I'm working on Linux operating system, this is Ubuntu. Basically you might be operating on Windows OS. All you just have to do is you can just Google Git or just go to the official website of Git. The first thing you see here is Git. Just download for which of your operating system you are on, whether on Windows, it will be stated here. Like now I'm operating on Linux, that's why it's saying that we'll download for Linux. If you're operating for Windows, what you see here is download for Windows. All right. Once you've downloaded this for Windows, if you download Git, this is you downloading Git for Windows. It comes with Git Bash, which is a built-in terminal, which is a not a built-in terminal, sorry. It comes with Git Bash, which is a terminal whereby you can you can enter any Linux command and it will be as if you are and use it to interact with your Windows shell. All right. I'm sure you know what a shell is, you know what a terminal is. I'll just assume you know that, but for the scope of this
Yes.
class, all right, thank you very much. So we are just talking about what Git and GitHub. So just open up the terminal. Right now, if you are using Mac or Linux like I am, just open your built-in terminal. Okay. And the first thing you need to do is to check whether Git is installed correctly by running git dash dash version. Okay, now I have the version of my system is 2.34, which is quite old. I've not updated the Git. I think the new version is 2.39. All right. Sorry about that. So my version, that means I
Oh,
have Git.
sorry, excuse.
Yeah.
Please, is this meeting being recorded?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
All right. So this is the first thing you need to do. If you don't have Git installed, you won't get this prompt that you have a version of your Git. That means you definitely need to work to install Git on your system, whether Windows, Mac, or Linux. All right. If you're on Linux, all you need just to do is to use the sudo command, sudo app install Git. You can just go to the Git official website just to download for which of your operating system you are running. All right. So that being said, after you've installed Git, you need to what? The next thing you need to do, you need to configure Git. That means you need to let Git know who you are. Okay, and the reason why this is important is because what? All the commits, there's what commit, all the Git commit uses what? The configuration that is being set. Please kindly mute your mic. Okay, if you're just joining, thank you very much. So Git uses some configuration like your username, like your name, which is you as the user, like the name and the email, to configure that what you are the person that made this kind of commit. I'm going to revert back to this statement when we get to the reason why we are actually configuring our Git. So in order for you to configure your Git, all you need to do is to run git config. You have to configure it globally. Sorry about that. Let me increase my font a little bit. Sorry. So I said the first thing you need to do is to run git data version to check the version of the Git, whether it is being installed or not. So the next thing is to configure Git to tell Git that this is who you are. You are the owner of this Git project, Git repo. All right, so just run git config dash dash global. Now this dash dash global means that you are configuring your Git globally. You just need to do this once, and it will any Git repository that you create will automatically take this configuration that is being set globally on your system. Okay, git config dash dash global, then user dot name. Now this doesn't mean username. It means that what is the name of of this user, not username. Okay, not your GitHub username. You can just put your name in quotes. What is my name? My name is Abiodun Shitu. Whatever your name is, do that. Then the next thing we need to configure with our email. That's the user email. That would the same thing, git config dash dash global. Sorry about that. Dash dash global. Then user dot email. Then in quote as well. That's your email address. Now this email address have to match with the email address you use to register your GitHub account. All right. So we have my username. My email is jbiskley1@gmail.com. Okay. Now I've configured both my name and my email to Git, so that Git knows that this is the name of the person that is working on whatever project I want to work on. I want to make on Git to keep track of, and this is the email address. I'm going to show you where this will be prompted when we along the line as we move further. So now if you want to check that this configuration was set well, you actually did this configuration well, so you just was git config dash v. That means not dash v, dash list rather. Sorry about that. Dash list. That means you want to check the list of configuration that Git has. If I should run this, so the only two configuration I have is user.name, which is the Abiodun Shitu that I set, and the user.email, which is this jbiskley1@gmail.com. Then press Q to end that. You're done with configuring Git. So this have to be done once, because we are using this flag, global flag. That means we are setting this git config, this configuration on our system for any repository that we use to make use of. So now let's create a Git folder. Okay, let's create a Git folder. So I'm going to make this a quite interactive. So folder is, we use directory. Okay, just in case I'm using any name. You can use them interchangeably. They mean the same thing. They are both containers. Whether it's folder or is directory, but I'm going to be sticking with directory. So how do you make a new directory? What's the command to make a new directory on your command line? Anybody?
mkdir.
MKDIR.
Okay, mkdir. Thank you very much. So let's call the name of this directory. Let's say my project. Okay, let me just say my underscore project. Now there is I'm supposed to actually navigate. I have so many things here. Okay, you know what, let me do something. Let me navigate to my document, and let me quickly move that that stuff I created just now to this current place. Okay, so I still have so many files here. So this is the my project directory that I created. All right, so now let's navigate into that directory. How do you navigate into a directory? Like you want to move from one directory to another directory. I just ran the command just now. Let's make it snappy.
That's
Move
CD.
ng.
No, I want to navigate, not
CD.
yeah, thank you very much. I want to change directory. I don't want to give you the name, because the name is actually what prompts, what give up this abbreviation. Like cd change directory, mkdir mk make, then dir directory, make directory, stuff like that. Rm remove, mv move, stuff like that. It's very quite easy to actually know once you know what you want to do. So we want to navigate into the my project directory. Now we are currently inside what my project, which is inside what documents. All right, so currently this is just a directory. It is not a Git directory yet. A Git directory is referred to as a repository, which is a container that houses your what, your codes, your projects, your code files that you have codes in. Git repository is just a Git directory that you want a Git to keep track of. Now, right now, this is just a what, a directory, not a repository. The difference between a directory and a repository is the fact that a repository is a directory which is being managed by what, by Git, but a directory is not a repository. You can say that what, all repositories are directory, but not all directories are what, are repositories. Is that clear? But how do you make, before you can get to a repository, you have to pass through what, a directory. You need to create a directory before you can make that directory a repository. So how do you make a directory a repository? That's where we come to our next agenda, which is what, we initialize what, Git. So we initialize Git on a particular directory that we want to turn into a what, a repository. So let me list the content of this directory. There's nothing inside. If I should list it along with the what, hidden file, all we just get is what, dot and dot dot. Don't worry about it. This is created by default for every new directory. Now watch when we initialize. How do you initialize? Just run git init. Inside the directory, you first need to navigate inside the directory before you run this command. So any directory you want to change into a repository, you have to be inside that directory. If you are not inside the directory, you are initializing your current directory, which is not the directory that you want to initialize. Just make sure that before you run this git init, you have to be in the in that current directory that you want to turn to, you want Git to keep track of. So if I should run this, it's now going to tell me that what, forget about all these ones are just an int that is normally prompted anytime you run that what states that what, this is a master branch and the likes of them. You will get this prompt that what, initialized empty Git repository in home user, this is my user, this is document. It will give you the path, and it will also create a directory called what, .git. Now that .git is where you have all your, that's the hidden file that keep track of your what, of your changes. So if I should ls-a, this is me listing This dash A means that what I want to list all the content of this directory to get along with the what, with the hidden files or what, or directory. So if you can see now I have a directory called what, .git. Quick question. I'm not sure if this might be correct for most terminals out there. Now the reason why I'm calling this a directory and not a file is because of something. It's actually because of the color. So let me create a file real quick. So let's say I have a file touch. Let me just call it file. Okay. So let me list this again. You can see the color of a file by default is what? Is white. While the color of a directory is what? Is blue. I'm sure you must have seen another color, green. Sometimes this green signified by what, that is a file that is what, executable. When you get there, don't let me take you to further step. But for now, in order for you to differentiate between a file and a directory, you know that what, a file is always what, color blue, color white, and a directory is what, color blue. Okay, it's always like this by default for most terminals, except maybe your terminal is a customized one. All right. So now that we've initialized our 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 directory with Git, that means what, we've already made this a repository. That means what, this is my project that was initially a directory. It is now what, a repository. I can now call this my project a repository, a repo for short. Okay, now we've created our repo, but it is empty. So now let's add, I've already added a file already. Okay, let me clear my screen. To clear your screen is either if you type in clear, or you press Control L. That's Control plus L. All right, whichever one will clear. This one will clear your screen without giving along with the history. Why this one, Control L, is also clearing the screen, but it is just pushing it upward. You can decide to scroll down to see the previous command that you ran if you are using Control L. But if you are using clear, you won't be able to scroll down to see the previous command that you ran. Okay, so that's just the major difference between Control and clear, but you can use either of the two. Sorry, I'm diverting between shell navigation and Git and the Git, but
Actually, thank you for sharing
it's
those
normal.
tips.
I'll be sharing some other things I'm using just to make my work faster. You can decide to go just research on your own on how to make your productivity a lot faster and easier for you. All right, so next let's just create some files inside this our repo. So we have a file already, so I'm just going to rename. Okay, let me just leave it as a file. We have one file already. Let me create another file. Let me just do a readme file .md. Okay, right now we have two files. The first one is called file. The second one is readme.md. So these are new files. These are just empty files. I can decide to put in some things inside these files. Let me put in something inside the readme file. Okay, now if you notice, I'm not typing. You might think that I'm typing really fast, but I'm not actually typing fast. What I do is a shortcut for that I press for it to help me to complete what I want to type. I know that it is this readme.md I want to type. I don't need to start typing it one and say readme.md. No. All I need to do is just since I have just two files here, and these two files, there's only one file starting with the file that I want to go into. The starting is capital letter how. All I need to press is capital letter how. There's no other file that is starting with capital letter how. Then after typing capital letter how, I'll just press tab. It will help me to autocomplete. As long as that file is present in that directory, it will autocomplete the name of that file. Like for instance, let's say it is this file I want to just press F and press tab. It will help me to autocomplete instead of having to type in all the names of the words of that particular file you want to work with. Let's say the name of the file is very long. Let's say like 100 letter words now. You can't be typing 100 letter words every time you need that to work with that file. All right. Just specify
Excuse,
the first
hello.
letter, then press tab, tab on your keyboard to help you to complete it. Any questions so far? You can ask a question real quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't get what you said you should touch after typing the first letter. Is it
Tab,
tab or
tab,
at?
tab. The tab
Okay,
key.
TAP.
Tab rather. Tab.
Okay, TAB. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Tab
thanks.
key. Yeah. It will autocomplete as long as you specify the starting of the name of the file that you want to go to. If you have, for instance, let's just do a quick demonstration. Okay, let me create another file that starts with capital letter R, for instance, even capital letter RA. Let's say I have, okay, REA react.js. Let me just leave it like this. So I have two files starting with REA, but the only difference between them is this fourth letter, which is what? C. This one has C and this one has D. So all I need to do is just to press VIREAD, then press tab. If I just press VIREA and press tab, it's going to give me two options. Do I want to go into this or do I want to go into this? That's why it prompts me these two names. The computer cannot decide which for you. It doesn't know whether you want to go into this react.js or you want to go into this readme.md. So you just need to specify the path, a pattern that matches exactly the name of the file that you want to go into. If it's react, all I need to put is C, then press tab, it will autocomplete for me. If it is this readme, all I need to put is D, then it will just autocomplete it for me. So I'm just saying this in case you have two different files, two or more files starting with the same three-letter word. Just make sure that you get to that word distinct letter that is what's differentiating them, so that you will use the tab to complete it for you, or whichever still you can just be typing the name of the file out yourself. Okay, so that is that. So let's go into this readme and add something. Okay, I'm sure you've done tutorial on VI out. You already know the VI commands and the likes of them. Some VI commands. VI is a text editor. Now, if I want to type something, before I type anything, I need to press I to go into the insert mode. We have the insert mode and the command mode for Vim, VI text editor or Vim. Okay, so now I'll be able to type. Let me just type in something. This is code tribe. Okay, let me just say PLD section. All right, let me just leave that one line there. Then Control X. I'm a little bit fast. Let me go back into the VI. So after you type in what you want to type in, all right, press escape, then press what? :WQ to quit and save. :W is to save the content inside the file, and the :Q is to quit. Since I want to save and quit, I can decide to merge the two together and press what? :WQ. After saving the content inside the file, quit out of the VI interface. All right, so that is that. Just to be sure, let's view the content of this readme file with cat. You can see I have what I type in here. Don't worry about this hash for now, since this is a markdown file. This readme is a markdown file. This .md means markdown. It has a syntax. This hash that I put here is going to display this text to be bigger than a usual normal text. Like the font size of this text will be bigger when we view it on GitHub. I'm going to send this to GitHub. Don't worry, when we send this file to GitHub, you are going to understand what I actually did here. All right, so now we've already created new files. We've created like 3 different files, which is 2 of them are empty, one is the content. Okay, now there's what we call git status, which is used to check git status is used to check the type of the status of your git repo, That's if you want to know the status of your repo, what stage is this repo presently in. Okay, that's what git status is used for. So the first thing, when you run git status, is going to bring you out with what? Now it's going to say that on this branch, which is this particular branch, which is the master branch, there are no commits yet. I don't have any commits, but I have on track files, which are what? When you have on track files, they will be what? Color green, color red. On track files are always what? Color red. These are files that are not yet tracked by Git. They are files you've already modified your repo with by adding 3 different files, but they are not yet tracked by what? By Git. It's until when you commit your changes, that's when Git will keep track of that changes. Like I said from the beginning, Git only what? Keep track of what? Code changes. Okay, the kind of changes that you make to, that's after you make the change, you need to save it before Git can keep track of it. You saving it is by you committing it. But before you can commit any change, you need to what? To add, you need to add those words, those files that you make changes to make Git aware that these are the files I want to what? I want to commit, that I want to save. So what is the command for that? You have what? Git add. Now, since there are 3 files, you can decide to add these 3 files individually by saying the first one file, the second one react, that's a react.js, the third one readme.md. But let's say you have like 10 or more files that you added that are on track files. You can't keep adding them one after the other. That's where the use of what? These dots came in. This dot means that what? You want to add all the files in the current directory. You know what dot means? Current directory. You want to add everything in this current directory to Git. That means to be main aware. You want to create an awareness for them that, okay, these are all the files I want to what? I want to commit, that I want to save. Okay, that's where this dot came in. Let's say we have only one file, or we want to add only one file. We can just type the name of the file. This is the right syntax for what? For adding a file to what? To Git. Git add, then the name of the file that you want to add to. But if there are several files, just use what? Dot. It's just going to automatically add what? All the files in the what? In the current directory. When we add, you can run git status again to see the difference with what was there and what is there now. Now we are saying, now it's saying that what? On this branch, which is the master, no commit yet, but there are changes to be committed. Okay, there are changes to be committed. This thing, they call it the staging area. Staging area is where you've added some files, but they are not yet what? Committed. You've not yet saved them. Let me use the word save. Okay, is after you, that's, they call it what? Staging environment. Okay, right now these files, they are what? They are in the what? In the staging environment. They are files that are ready to be what? To be committed. All right. So now that we've added, so the next thing we need to do is to run git commit. Now, when you are committing, you know, when you want to save a news, you want to save something, you need to give it a name now. Definitely. So we call it what? But in the terms of Git, we call it a message, a commit message, which is, this is how you do it: git commit -m, which is an option, which is a flag which starts from message. Then you now pass in the message in quotes, whether single quotes or double quotes. If you are using single quotes, make sure you use single to open, single to close. If you are using double quotes, make sure you use double to open, double to quotes, to close rather. Okay. Now, this is a commit. I want to give a commit message to this what? To these changes I just made, to these 3 files that I just what? Added. Okay. This commit will only be what? We only be keeping track of what? Of these 3 files. Any other files added later, I will need to give it another what? Another commit message. Let me just say let me just call it what? Initial commit, or you can call it your first commit, whichever way. Okay, I think the spelling of my initial is wrong. Yes, initial commit. Okay, so git commit -m, then your commit message in quotes. Okay, that's how you commit changes that are what? That have already been added to the what? To the staging area. When you press enter, it's going to prompt you with this, that what? 3 files change. I think inside one of the file there is one insertion. That means we inserted something inside one of the file. That's why it's showing this then it's going to give you a what, a unique ID for that what, for the commit that you made. Okay, now if you run git status now, there's nothing to commit. The working tree is clean. That means we successfully what, kept track of what, of these particular changes that we made to this repo, which is what, those three files, which is the react.js, the readme.md, and the ordinary file that we created. Now if you want to, there's another command that you can use to check all the commit messages. I mean, all the commits made, all the changes made, all the changes that what Git is keeping track of. And that command is what, git log. When you run git log, it's going to list out all the changes that Git is keeping track of in this repo. Okay, before we run this git log, let's make another changes. Okay, let's probably insert something inside one of those files. These are new files. This is taken as what, new files. Let's try to make changes to those files, this react.js and what, this ordinary file. Let me go to that ordinary file first. Let me vir into file and just add anything. Let me just add a line just to make our work easier. This is a git, what's wrong with me? Git and GitHub section. Okay, I think that is good. :wq, just to save that one. Let me add something to that of react.js. Let me just say this is a react. Let me just add just a small JavaScript code. Let me just say I const var. Don't mind what I'm doing. No? You don't need to understand what I'm actually doing right now. So I want this to do something for me. So let me just say console.log hello world. React is a JavaScript library. So I'm just adding some JavaScript code here. This is just a function that prints hello world to the console. You don't need to know what this is doing. So :wq. So I've already made changes to those two files. Now if I should run git status now, it's going to show me that these files have been modified. Now it is color red because they are I've not yet staged them. I've not yet added them to the staging area. That's why it is color red. If I should do git add dot, that means I want to add all the files here. Then run the git status again. You can see it is now color green, ready to be committed. So now I can now run the git commit -m with a message. Let me just say modify some files. Now there's a conventional way of writing a commit message. This is not really good, but it is reasonable to some extent because I just made some few changes to the file. There's a conventional way of writing commit message. Your commit message should say something about the kind of changes you just made that you're about to commit. Okay, you can just read more on that. So now if I should run the git status again, it's going to show me that my working tree is clean. There's nothing to commit. All right, now like I said, there's a command called git log that is going to bring out the list of all the changes that I should make under this repo. That's git log. Now in this case, there are just 2 commits. This is where this head signifies that this is the latest commit that was made, and these are anyone that falls below it are the other commits. You can see it's going to give you the author. The author is the configuration of, is that git configuration that we set. Remember we configured our git earlier on with git config globally, that we name and email. This is where it is being useful. And the reason why we actually did that we actually configured with git so that Git is able to what to know the person that made that changes. Let's say for instance you are working in a big companies whereby you are working with other developers. You are a front-end developer, you have another front-end developer, you have another front-end developer working on one single project, and they have what. So if with Git we're able to know that what this is the person that made these changes to the project. This person that made these changes to the project. Let's say for instance, one of the developers made some changes that affected the project, probably altered the project negatively. They were able to pitch out the person, probably the person nobody was actually admitting that he or she was actually the one that made the changes. They can use this git log to pitch out the person, who the person that made the changes to. That's if they know the feature that was added to the project that made the project not to work again. So these are some of the benefits of Git that comes with Git. Okay, so Git log is used to what? To see the list of what all the changes, all the commits that has been made on a particular repo, and also it will bring out the author, the date, and the time. You can see this is the date, Monday, February, according to your it's taking your system date. If my date on the system is probably January 30 something, 31st, it's going to show January 31st. All right, so that's it. Then the name of the commit. Also, let's move further. I talked about, although there are other flag, there's another flag that you can add to this. That's git log dash one line. That means you just want to view the summary of what all the commit messages, not the few. You can see to just give you the key and the commit message. But if you just want git log, it's going to give you the full details. You can just read more on this, make some findings on your own. Git log will give you the full details, the author, the dates, and everything about that commit. All right. So I hope I'm not too fast. Are you
No,
guys
you're
following?
not too fast.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Yes.
So let's move on to the next thing I want to talk about is what I mentioned working. Now we've looked at how Git keep track of our codes. We've also looked at how we can add our changes to what did I mention? I'm always forgetting all these things that I mentioned earlier on. So we've looked at how to track our changes with Git, how Git tracks our code changes. Or we've also looked at how we can see the person that actually make the changes. I talked about the three major things that Git is used for: tracking your code changes, tracking who made the changes. That's what I showed you with this Git log. Okay, we were able to see who made a particular change to that commit, to that change. Then the next now to talk about is the coding collaboration. That's where we talk about branching. Git branch. Okay. So, what is a branch? Really, a branch is just like is a separate version of the main repo. That's in Git. A branch, just like when you say a branch of a tree, it's just like an isolated. They always use the word isolated. So with Git, when you create, just like we have a big company, a junior developer just step in, or an intern, a backend developer intern just stepped into a new company that already have an existing project that they are working on, probably a to-do app, for instance. So they've already started. It's not a new project. So for such an intern, the intern will not just jump into the code and start typing codes, writing codes inside their code base just like that. You're an intern. Definitely, as an intern, you need to know about Git branch. they will ask you to go and make a branch of what of that what project and work on the feature you were being assigned to. Probably they gave you a feature to what do they do in a to-do list? Probably they give you a feature to what to authenticate the app. Probably they want you to create, you're a backend developer, right? To write a logic for sign in and sign up endpoint. Okay, so please can you mute your mic? The person that just joined, I don't know who just joined, but please, thank you very much. Uh, I'm coming. Let me come and fish out who that is. Idowu Okoyemi. Please do. Thank you very much. All right, sorry about that. Like I was saying, for a junior developer intern, they will tell you the company, the senior developer will tell you probably assign a task to go and create a login and sign up endpoint. You definitely, and the person will tell you to go and create your own branch where you can work on that feature that you have been assigned to. That's what branch is, just an isolated, a separate version of what? Of the main project. Okay, let's say now I want to work on this project now, and I'm a junior developer, okay, and this is the project. Currently they have just what, let me clear my screen. Currently they have just 3 files in this project, so they asked me to go and create a separate branch of my own. All right, and create a new file, probably a C file that add 2 numbers or just print hello world to the what, to the standard output. What I need to do is to what, is to create a new branch, go inside that branch and start working on what I've been assigned to. How do you create a branch? You create a branch by what? This command, git branch. Okay, but now this is then followed by what? The name of what? Name of branch. This is actually the syntax to create a new branch. Sorry about this. Name of branch. So this is the syntax to create a branch. Git branch, then followed by what? Name of the branch that you want to create. You can call the branch anything, but there are also conventional way of creating or writing the name of a branch, which you can read on your own. So now this is just going to create the branch. Let's experiment something. Let's say the name of the branch I want to work on, let me just say I want to add a new feature. I'm just calling it a feature C. They asked me to write what, let me just say C program. Let me just call it C program for now, or let me use a simple name. They asked me to call the branch what, new, probably new, I don't know what to call the name of the branch. Let me just call it what, new branch. The name of the branch is what, new branch. So once I do this, now I've created what, I'm not going, how do I know that what this branch was actually created? I need to watch what, I need to run what, git branch again alone. So this running git branch will give you the what, the list of all the branches that are what, that are present in this what, in this current what repo. If I should run this now, I have just 2 branches, which is what, master and what, this new branch. Sorry about this, master and what, this new branch. This asterisk means that what, I'm currently in my what, in the master branch, which is the default branch, which is the branch created by default anytime you create a new what, a new repo. Okay, and this new branch is the name of the branch I just created, but I'm not inside that place. But that is where I want to work. I want to do my work, not inside my what, my master branch. You can see I'm still, even though I've created this branch, but I'm still inside the master branch. So how do I go inside the new branch I just created? That's where you need to run git checkout, then followed by what, the name of the branch I want to go into, which is what, new underscore branch, which is the name of the branch that what you created here. Okay, so if I should do git checkout new branch, it's going to prompt me with this message that I've switched into the branch called what, new branch. Make sure that the branch has already been created. But now there's a direct way of creating a branch, a new branch, and also switching inside that new branch in one single command. You can see this one, we first created the branch before we actually went into the branch. Just like the way we use vi, the name of a new file, to go inside the new file without first creating that file first, without using touch. I'm sure you must have. I hope I'm not going way too advanced for you guys. If I'm speaking something that you don't understand, probably I'm speaking in tongues, just let me know. I'll come down, I'll simplify it a little bit more. I'm just assuming that you guys must have known some things, especially the shell commands, the Linux commands. Then what I was saying is that just like you use the touch command to create an empty file, right? That's touch the name of the file that you want to create. But if you want to write something, probably you want to write some content inside that file, you don't need to use touch to create the file. You can just use the text editor that you want to use to write into that file to create the file will be what automatically created. Okay, this is what I'm saying. Let's say I want to let's say I have vi, let me just call it new file. Normal thing I need to do is to first run what touch new file, but I'm not going to. So the first thing I need to do is to first run what touch new file, right? Then and and I'm going to now use vi to open the file so that I can write something inside the file. You can use vi or Emacs, whichever text editor that suits your choice. Okay, now I'm saying you can decide to take away, not go through this command touch new file, and just use vi new file, just only vi new file. And what this is doing is that it will first check whether this file is present in your directory. If the file is not present, your vi it will automatically be created so that you can write something into it. Just like I was saying, for this one, we first created the branch. Let's go back to what we're discussing about. We first created the branch before switching into the branch. Now I'm telling you that you can switch and create the branch at the same time. This is going to wait a little while. It's time for prayer, but I'm just going to finish this class. So now the command is git checkout -b, which is this -b means that this is a branch. I'm checking out inside a branch name. Let me just give it another name. Let me just say update branch. Now you can see I did not first use git branch update branch. I did not first create the branch. I'm using the checkout directly. I want to check out. That means I want to switch into a branch called update branch. Now this branch is not yet present, but with this flag, it's going to automatically, it's going to create the branch for us before switching into it. You can see right now I'm inside the new branch. If I should run this command, it's going to switch into the update branch. You can see it has already prompted me to switch to a new branch called update branch. If I should run the git branch now, you can see I have 3 branches, which is update branch, which is where I am currently. I have this my new branch as well, which is what I created with those 2 steps. So whichever one you want to do, the choice is left with you. And I like using this for this one, so that as it is creating the branch, it is also navigating into the branch for me. Not that I'll first create the branch, then come and navigate into the branch again. Sometimes you might just do this and feel like you've already navigated into the branch, and then keep working inside your the master branch, just to avoid those we are humans, we make those silly mistakes, or yeah, let's call it mistake. Anybody's prompt to make mistake. Okay, so just try to minimize your mistake by using something that will just take you directly to where you want to go. I want to navigate into a new branch and also create that new branch, which is I use this git checkout -b, then specify the name of the branch I want to work with inside now. Also, if you want to delete a branch, okay, all you need to do is to run git branch -d. then followed by what? The name of the branch I want to delete. Let's delete that what? New branch. Okay. If I should run this, it deleted branch, new branch. That's the branch I created earlier on. So if I should run the git branch now, I'm going to have just what? Two branches, which is what? The master and the what? Update branch, because I've already what? Deleted this what? This new branch with this command. All right. So like I was saying, back to before this little digression. Okay, someone raising up his hand. Please, if you have a question. Okay, Bert, please quickly ask a question.
Please, if I delete a branch and
Yeah.
I do I have to know do I have to git push before it will reflect in the repository?
Uh, this okay. I've not yet talked about the. I'm still talking about Git for now. I've not yet switched to GitHub. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. I'm going to, don't worry, I will talk about your question. I don't want to navigate to GitHub at all. I'm still just talking about Git right now. I've not started anything on GitHub. Yeah. Um, there's another Bright. Okay, you are Bet. Okay, Bright, please ask your question.
Okay, sir, and thank you very much. I'm actually enjoying the class. My question is, in normal share navigation,
Yeah,
if you you are working in a directory
yes,
and you create another directory, the directory would automatically be under the directory you're working on.
yeah,
I want to ask in Git, like you created another branch
yeah.
inside while you're working in this new branch and you deleted the new branch. Does it mean that and the branch you created while you're working in another branch
Branch.
is not in that branch? Yeah. You get my question?
Oh, I get your question. Okay. The branch is not as if the branch is not like inside, it's just an isolated version of another what? Of another repo. We have a repo. Inside the repo, we have branches. You can have several branches inside a repo. Okay. But there is always a default one called master, or you can call it main, which is the new name given to default branch, or they call it root branch, which is the new name convention that they give to default or what, or the root branch. Okay. Now, when you create a branch, okay, it is from when you create, like now, for instance, I was in the master branch when I created the what, the new branch. Okay, let me just scroll up. I think yeah, here when I created this new branch, I was inside what's master. That means what? This new branch is a copy of what? Of this what? Of this master branch. Everything that is inside this master branch is inside this what? This new branch. It's not like this new branch is inside a master branch. It is not. Don't use the terms directory. Okay, don't use directory. All right, don't mix. Shell is different from Git. Okay, don't mix them together. It's not like this new branch is under master. It's just a copy of what? Of master. It's not as if it is under it. When you're talking of directory, when you create a directory inside another directory, the directory that you created is the child of what? Of the parent directory you're working on. Something like parent and child. But in this case, you cannot relate that what this is the parent or this is the child. It's just an
Okay.
isolated version of. That means you are trying to isolate yourself from what? From the main, from the roots, from the default branch, so that you won't mess up with the what? With the default branch.
Okay. I
But now I
I
can,
think
all if you want to delete, you just have to specify the name of the branch you want to delete. You are still under that same repo. It's just like you have it's still one tree, but you have um different leaves. Definitely you can cut any leaves from any angle that you want, from anywhere that you want. Unlike when you're inside shell. Okay, when you're inside shell, you need to navigate into one direction because you can delete anything from inside and that. You just need to specify the paths, but there are other ways You can actually delete a directory from anywhere that you are, as long as you know the what, the address. Let me refer to address, the address of where that directory is, or they call it the path to where that directory is. So don't let us digress too much. What's the name? Ramatu. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Please, when we're creating new branches, does that mean everything that was inside the master branch is being replicated in the new branch?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
So let me, I did not list the content of that branch. So let me list, now I'm inside, okay, let me just run the Git branch again. Now I'm inside the updates branch, but now I'm going to list the content of this branch. I have this file, react.js and what, and readme.md, which are the same what files that were inside the what, the master branch. If I should cut into file, I still have what, everything that is there. If I should cut into the readme react.js, I have this, what I wrote there, this little JavaScript code. If I should cut into the readme.md, I have this what, this content that I have there that I created inside the what's inside the master branch. Like I said, it's just a a separate version, a copy of whichever branch you are what you were coming from, mostly the main branch. Now I can decide to create other branches from what, from this update branch. Let's say I made some changes here and I create another branch from what, from this update branch. That new branch that I created from this update branch is going to have the same content that is inside this update branch, but it won't have the content that is inside the master branch, because what, I did not create the branch from what, from master branch. Just, but don't let me make it complicated, don't let me make it too complex there. Just know that any branch that you are creating from another branch is just the exact copy of that branch. Everything that is inside that branch will be copied to the new branch, so that you can then continue your work from there. It's just an
Yeah,
isolated, yes. So
it's
now,
cleared now. It's
all
cleared.
right. So what is the assignment I was given? I was given to create a new, probably a C file, and write a little code. So I'm just going to what, to vi, let me just say, let me just call it sample. Don't worry, you guys are going to talk about C programming very soon. So inside here, and I don't want to bother you guys too much. So don't worry about what I'm writing. You are going to understand this very soon. Let me just quickly write this. So what's your problem? Okay. Okay. So let me just put my return value here down. So this is the assignment I was given, just to write a simple C program that prints what, hello code tribe. Let me just put it like this, hello code tribe. Sorry, I think I'm already getting it. Okay, sweet. So this is the assignment I was given by the company, since I'm just entering as a what, as a junior what, developer. All right, now I've already what, created the file that they asked me to create. Now I need to what, to also add these files, this particular file, commit it, and then yeah, I need to add and what, and save the file, so that I can be sure that what's okay. Me as the junior, this was what I did. So all I need to do is to what, git add that file. Like I said before, since it's just a single file, when you run git status now, you are going to be having what's just a single file that is untracked. So you don't need to run git add dot. It's not really necessary. Just run git add sample dot, that same file, since it's just a single file. All right. So if you run the git status again, just to be sure that this thing was added, you can see it is now what, color green. So now we can then what, git commit with a reasonable message. Let me just say new feature added. All right. Now I'm done. Now you can see inside this update branch, I have 4 files. This is the initial file. You can see I did not even touch. This is just the new feature that they asked me to do. Okay, which is to create a file and write a very simple program inside it. Now, if I should go back to the what, to the master branch with git checkout master. If I should list this content, I'm not going to have that sample yet. You can see this is me isolating myself from the what, from the default, from their root branch, so that I will not what, alter their work negatively. So this is me isolating myself without affecting the main branch of the what, of the project. That's what branching is for. Also, just like that's how collaboration works. You just make sure you have your own separate branch, so that when you are done, you then ask the company for a review, then you can then go ahead from there. So I will have to temporarily stop here and then go to what, to GitHub. Okay, now this is everything I need to talk about Git. Now we need to what, to go to what, to GitHub, so that then we can use the remaining like probably 45 minutes to talk about GitHub. Then we'll then call it a day. All right. So now let me go to my GitHub account. I'm sure you already know how to create a GitHub account. You already know how to set up your GitHub account and stuff like that. So this is my own GitHub account. It's a little bit crowded. Don't worry, you'll get there. So now you need to, just like, now what is GitHub? Okay, what is GitHub? Now, Git is not the same thing as GitHub. Okay, Git is what keep track of your changes locally on your what, on your computer. GitHub is like a remote server that stores your what, your repo, your project. I always refer to as like a backup server for your what, for your project that Git is what is monitoring. Okay, that's just GitHub uses Git to push your code to GitHub needs Git. You need to have your project be monitored by Git before you can actually what, push it to what, to GitHub. Okay, and I'm going to walk you through how you can push your code to GitHub, so that I can have a copy locally and you can have a copy remotely on the what, on the server, which is this GitHub. Now you can see this my project repo. It can only be present on my computer. Let's say I want to work with another person from, now I'm in Nigeria for now. I will soon run away because of the situation happening in this country, by God's grace. So I want to work with probably someone in Canada or US or another country that is not in Nigeria, but I have my project locally on my system. How will the person in Canada have access to my project that is on my what, on my computer, locally on my computer? It's not possible. The only way it is possible is if I push my code to what, to GitHub. That's the only way the person that is in Canada can have access to that same repo, so that he can then what, work on the repo from where he is. That's just the benefit of GitHub. It allows you to work with anybody from anywhere, collaborate with anybody from anywhere. That's the right thing. All right, and it's also another very vital benefit is the fact that it back up your code. Let's say for instance, this my system got corrupted along the line. Luckily for me, before it got corrupted, I already pushed all my projects to GitHub. Now I won't be bothered too much about all my projects, because I have all the repositories here. I can easily come to GitHub on any other system and then clone the project back on that new system and start working from where I stopped. So the only thing that will pay me is if I was not aware of GitHub. and I've been doing my project locally and been saving it, and all of a sudden everything just went offline. There's nowhere to, I'll start writing the program, then my project all over again from scratch. So that's just the, so GitHub allows you to back up your, to save your project that you have locally on your system so that it can be used by in another system, or you can collaborate collaborate on that same project with another person from anywhere else in the world. Okay, so now for you to push your project to GitHub, there are actually two different ways for now. Right now, we've already started a project on locally on our system. We've already started a Git project, and Git has already been monitoring this project for us. So all we just need to do is go to GitHub and then create a new repository. You can name the repository anything you want. It's not compulsory that the name of the repository has to match the name of the repo that you have locally on your system. They are just containers. This is a container that is housing all these files. Now, the only thing that will be pushed from your local is all these files that are inside this container to what? To this container that you want to specify here. So the name doesn't have to match really, but just to be safe, make sure you are on the safer side, just make sure that what? The name of the repo is the same thing as what? The name of the repo is the same as the name of the repo locally, and is the same thing as the name of the repo remotely. All right, so I'm just going to call it what? The same name, my underscore project. This one is just a description. Let me just say this is a demo. This is a demonstration on Git and GitHub. Okay, sorry, on Git and GitHub. What's wrong with me today? So now we have what we call public and private. You making your repo public is so that anybody can see the repo from anywhere. Okay, and probably go through. You can make your repo private. Making it private, it can only be visible by the only person that you want it to be visible with too. Like companies, organizations on GitHub actually use privatize their repo so that is their property. They don't want anybody to have access to their source code. Okay, it's only people working under that company that will have access to the source code. So, but as long as ALS is concerned, always make your repo public so that the checker will be able to find out what repo and be able to run your and be able to run through the repo so that you have the right solution that you are told to do. Just make sure you have the repo checked public. But for the case of this tutorial, I'm going to leave it on private. I don't want to make it public since I'm going to delete it later on. All right, so you can decide to add a readme file, but in our own repo locally, I already have a readme file, so I don't need to select this. This readme file is just going to take the content that you specify here. Or if you don't have any content here, GitHub will just automatically put some random content inside the readme file, which you can modify later on. So you don't need to check this add readme file. Only thing you need to specify the name, then specify the description, make sure it is public, then come and create the repo. So when you create the repo, it's going to practically there are actually 3 ways, but the two ways, these are the 2 popular ways. The first way is what we're actually doing. We've already started doing, which is this. This one is create a new repository on the command line, which was what we actually did. We created a new repo. We created a new project. We added a readme file. We made some changes, blah, blah, blah. We initialized it. We've committed, right? So the next thing we need to, like I said, by default, Git will name your branch master. So it's now left for you to change the name of the master to main, which is the new adopted name. Okay, main and master, the name can be anything really, but by convention, this is the new adopted name for a default branch. They call it main branch. Okay, so for you to do that is to do git branch -m. That means you want to rename the current branch to what? To main. And you can notice that what this M is what? Capital letter. It's different from the M that we're using in small letter when we wanted to what? To commit our changes here. It's different from this M. So I want to rename this master to what? To main. All I need to do is just to what? Git branch. Okay, git branch capital letter M, then specify what? Main. If I should run this, you can see the name has been changed to main. This is my own terminal. Your own terminal might look differently. If you are using git bash, you will definitely see this master and main. I think so. You definitely see this master and main, or you definitely see this master as well. But this is my own Linux Ubuntu terminal, and I changed the themes to make it look like this. All right. So I've successfully what? Changed the branch. So now, since I want to push the repo, I need to add the origin. I need to add this my local repo to this remote to this GitHub server. And how do I do that? Is to run this command git remote add origin, then followed by this the URL path to what? To my repo. This is the address of my repo. Okay, this is the address of my repo. You can see it is even specified there. But I will make just a tiny little changes to this. So this is how, just pay attention. So how do you connect? Let me just use the word connect. How do you connect this local repo to the what? To the remote repo, so that you can push the updates made locally to what? To that on the what? On the GitHub, or you can put your project to the what? To the GitHub. Okay, is by you what? Connecting the what? Is by you running this command git remote add sorry, I'll need to take a few steps back. Before we do this, I actually skipped a step. Now there's something we call personal access token. But let me finish typing what I'm typing. Git remote add origin. Then let me go and copy the address. This is the what? The address of my what? Of my repo, which is given here. I'm just going to paste it here for now. Now, before you run enter, you need to add something that we call PAT here. Then put at. Now, this personal access token is the one that is given an authentication permission that you're actually the owner of this repo. Okay, so that you tell please give me a minute. I need to do something real quick on my phone. I hope so far there's no question. Is there any question so far? Any questions so far? Are we lost anywhere?
You know, the task that was given to us. Please, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, thank you. The task that was given to us, the process to send your files or let me say your code from the Git, from your interface, from
Yep.
your terminal to
Terminal to
GitHub.
Yep.
They told us you first do the git add as you did, then you do your commits, git commit with the commit message,
Yep.
then git push. So I don't really understand, why are we not doing it here?
Okay, I'm going to tell you why we are not. I don't want you to actually go and just do git push. Before you can push, you need to connect your git, your terminal, your git to your what? To your GitHub. Okay, and how you connect is by running git remote add origin, then followed by the address of that repo that you want to connect this particular repo that is on your computer with. The repo that is being managed by Git, I want to connect it to what? With the repo that is on what? On GitHub. Without you
Okay.
connecting this, if I don't connect this, if I should just run, okay, right now we've already done git add, git commit. If I should run git push, it's going to ask me for something. It's going to fail because what, there is no remote, there is no configured push destination. We've not specified a destination. That means we've not connected what the present, our local Git to what, to our remote GitHub.
Okay.
So that is where this my I've already wiped this. So git add, git remote add origin. What do I want to add? This address that is here. Sorry about that.
Okay.
But you can then, you can just follow this process, okay? You can just follow this process. But I want to avoid something. That's exactly what they have here. After you've already git add, you've git commit, you need to what, to add the remote. You need to connect the git to what, to GitHub. With this what, git remote add origin, then the address of the GitHub repo. Then you now what, push it to what, to that origin main.
All
But
right.
before you do that, okay, let's just be practical about this. Let's do this. Okay, let's do this. Now I've already added it without my PAT. If I should run git push, it's going to prompt me with what? Okay, now this is the first time I want to push the repo. Okay, I need to always push to the what, to the upstream. I need to set an upstream because what, this is a new branch. Now I want to create. This branch hasn't been created on GitHub yet. So I need to run this command for me to what, to push it. Or you can as well use this word, git push -u origin, then followed by what, the name of the branch that you want to push. This -u is just a short form for what, set upstream. Because this is a new branch and this is a new repo, there's nothing on this repo. That's why we need to what, to push it with this what, push it as a what, and set an upstream on it. So if I should run this, it's going to prompt me for the username. Let me enter my GitHub username, which is this. And it's going to prompt me for what? For password. This is just an authentication. It needs to verify that I'm actually the owner of that what, GitHub account I want to push to. Now this password it is referring to, it is not your what, your GitHub password. It is your what, your personal access token. That is what we use to push now. Before they used to use your GitHub password, but recent update as of 2021, that was when they came to what, they introduced the personal access token. So that's why we need to always what, go and generate a personal access token. Just click on this arrow, drop down arrow beside your profile icon, then go to what, settings. When you get to settings, scroll down on the left, click on developer settings. You will see personal access token here. Just select the classic. Don't select this fine grain because it is still on beta. They are still working on it. It is not yet what, it is not yet standardized. Just click on the token, the classic token, then click on generate a new token. So for the sake of this, I have a token already, but for the sake of this for this class, I'm just going to generate a new token. Generate the classic one for general use. All right, so it's going to prompt your password. Just enter your password, then confirm. Now you can then, this is just a note, you can decide to name it anything. It doesn't really care. What it cares is, what you care about is the what, is the generated token. That is the generated token, that's what you care about. So you can just enter any name here. Let me just call it new token. You can call it any name. Now for the expiration date, you can decide to set 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, anyone that you want. But for the sake of ALX, I always advise ALX students to choose the custom expiration so that they can set the dates by themselves. All you just need to do is to click on this calendar icon, then select this same time next year. You can only select a maximum of what, a year validation of on this. You cannot select more than a year for custom expiration date. Just select this time next year for it to expire, so that if you select 30 days, in 30 days that token will no longer what, be valid. You will come back here and what, come and regenerate a new token. The reason why I want you to set it to what, the validation to a year, That's February. Today is February 7. The next year is February 6, 2024. It's because ALS program is running for like 13 months or thereabouts. So that you won't have to worry about coming back here to regenerate a token in what? In 364 days. That's a long period of time. And you can decide to what? To set no expiration on your token, provided that you keep that token safe. Don't make your token, don't give out your token to anyone whatsoever. Okay, make sure you don't give out your token to anyone whatsoever. Because if you should give out your token, the person will be able to just tamper with your repo, with your code base and the likes of them. Will be able to push to your GitHub account. Just make sure your token is saved. So now, after selecting the expiration date, you need to select the scope that you want to define the assets, that you want to give this permission, this token permission. Mostly for now, all you need to worry about is selecting repo. Just select repo. Don't select one of these. Just select the repo as a whole. Make sure that everything is ticked. That's the only thing you really need for now, as far as ALX is concerned. That's the only thing you need. You don't need to worry about all of these other ones. All these ones are for advanced. Even me, I don't really know what all these ones is, but I know that what you are trying to, anything that concerns repo is this. You selecting this so that you're able to push and then pull from your GitHub account. All right, then go down and then what? Generate token. Okay, after generating token, make sure that you copy this token and go and save it somewhere, probably on your Google Docs, probably on your local this thing. So let me just create a new repo, a new one here. Okay, you can just paste it here. Just go to your document, any document that you use, just paste make sure that you save the repo. You can save it locally, use on Microsoft Word. You can save it remotely on Google Docs, anywhere that you want to save, but make sure that you save it, because this generated token that you have here, it can only be visible. Once you, please mute your mic, your baby is disturbing us.
Oh,
Yeah, okay. Once you leave this page, this token will no longer be visible for you. Just make sure that you copy and then save it locally or remotely anywhere in your document. So now that we are done, so we need to go back to our terminal. This place that it is requesting for password, just make sure that you paste. Now once I paste that token, you can see it as what? It has pushed to what? To my GitHub profile. That means it was able to push it successfully without an error. There was no error, because what I pasted that token here where it requested for password. Okay, now let me go to the repo. Sorry, let me go to that repo, your repositories, so that I want to make sure that what? Okay, this is it, my project. So inside this project, you can see it has already pushed the files that I have inside the that repo to what? To the GitHub repo. This is the react.js, this is the readme.md. You can see that readme.md that I added what? That single, that hash, it make the text what? Large. You can see I told you to make the font size large. That's that's just the syntax of what? Markdown. If you want to make the font size of your text large, just put hash. Hash is the largest what? This is largest text you can get. You have hash, which is a bit smaller than this. All right, you can read more on that. Which if I show open any of this file, I will have the content that I wrote inside it. This is the content that I wrote inside it. So now I've successfully pushed my main branch. Now you can see the only branch I have here is this main. I've not yet pushed the other branch. You can, but you know that if I should run this git branch, oh sorry, what's your problem? Sorry about that. You can see what I have here. I have update branch, but the only branch that is showing here is just is just main. It's just showing that I have only just one branch here, which is this main branch. In order for me, it's because I want the git push from from main. If I want to push that if I want to push the other branch, I need to what? To check out into the update branch. That means to switch into that update branch and come and push this one too, the same way that I pushed that one. If I should run ordinary git push, because this is a new branch that is not yet available on GitHub, it's going to prompt me with this message to push it as set it as an upstream. Me setting it as an upstream because it is a new branch that is being created locally on our system. It is not yet present on the on the remote server. So we always need to to run git push -u. Now this for the first time you want to push a new branch, always push it by setting an upstream to the origin of it. So git push -u origin. So any other time that you make changes, just run ordinary git push, you are okay. As far as that branch is present in the on GitHub, it will push to the branch that you are currently working on. So I want to push the update script branch. If I should run this, it's still going to prompt me for my username and password. Just wait for it. It's trying to. I hope I'm still on this call. Yeah, you can see it prompting with my username. Now, for you to avoid it being asking this username and password every time you want to push, that's why I wanted to, let me cancel this. Just press Ctrl+C to terminate whatever process is going on here. That's why I wanted to make the remote connection before that git remote that I ran initially. I wanted to add PTA here. This connection that I made here, I wanted to add the PTA here. But since I've already added a remote URL to this local GitHub, I can't do this addition again. I need to set. Now this is what I will do. Now you can keep doing it like this and keep entering your username and then entering your token as a password every time you want to push, or you should run this command git remote set -URL origin. I think this is it. I will need to confirm, then followed by the address. That's the address of your git. You can always see the address here. Just click on code, then copy the address of that repo. Copy this http/github. So I'm just going to paste it here. Then come to the back of here and add your PAT. Okay, this is the way for you to avoid every time you want to push to GitHub and it keeps requesting for username and password. Just run this command inside that current or repo, git remote set -URL origin, then followed by the address, and input your personal access token after the / and put at github.com. Just this is the normal address. Just before GitHub, just go and copy the personal access token, then paste it here, then put at just after the personal access token. You can see this is where the personal access token stop. Just after the personal access token, just put at github.com, then press enter. Now let's run the git push -u origin update. If we do this correctly, it's not supposed to prompt us for this username that it prompted us. It's just going to push it to GitHub directly. You can see it did not prompt us with that username. Just for you to avoid being prompted with this username and password every time you want to push, make sure you always add your personal access token to anytime you are making. Just run this command git remote set URL origin, then followed by the address along with your personal access token. All right, I hope that is clear. That is not very difficult, is it? Is that difficult?
It's clear.
Okay, so now that if I should go to my GitHub now, you can see I've already, let me just refresh this. Now, initially I have one branch. Now I have what? Two branches. The second branch have been pushed to GitHub. There's something we call pull request. Okay, just like this branch that I created it as a junior developer inside a new company. So I need to create a pull request for the what? For the senior developers to review my code before incorporating the feature that I made inside that branch into their default branch. That's where we come to what? Git branch merging of branches. Okay. Now, if the senior developer is satisfied with what I did inside the branch that I created, then the senior developer will go ahead and merge the branch. Okay, that is where this on GitHub like now. Okay, since my colleagues, the company I'm working on, the senior developer that I'm working with is in another country. All I need to do is just to come here and click on, I'm sure, but for ALX, don't really worry about this. So I don't want to take you guys too far. I just want to stick to the ALX standard. Okay, so now we have, let me go back to the terminal. Okay, now we already know how to push to GitHub. We've already pushed our code to GitHub, but we are still in this branch. The update that we did inside our isolated branch, which is this update branch, we've not yet incorporated it with the default branch, since the senior developer is satisfied with the work. So all you just need to do is, if you want to merge the branch, you just need to navigate to you need to navigate back to the default branch, which is main. We've changed the name to main now. We are no more using master, so we need to use the correct name of the branch just to confirm that you are inside the default branch. You can see we have just main and update script. You've already switched to the main branch. So now we can then merge the two branches together. Okay, that means we want to merge. That means we need to bring the feature that the junior developer added inside this update branch inside the main branch. All you need to do is to run git merge and then the name of the branch you want to merge inside here, which is update branch. That means we are merging update branch inside main branch. That means we are bringing all the feature that was added inside this update branch to the main branch. I hope you understand the merging now. That means they've tested the isolated branch of the junior developer and they find out that, oh, this feature is what they need exactly. Then they can go ahead and merge the branch inside their default branch, which is the main branch. Okay, so if I should do this, you can see it's going to update, fast forward, blah 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 blah. It worked. Now if I should list the content of this directory now, you can see now I have the sample that was created inside inside this update branch. You can see initially before, when I was inside let me go to the main branch, let me go back to the top. Yes, this is it. When I was I was still inside the master. You can see there is no, even though, let me just go back to GitHub. Okay, inside this main branch, all I have is just these 3 files. So after merging every other files, every update that was made inside that update script will be automatically, this update branch will be automatically be incorporated, be merged inside the main branch. Okay, even though, let's say inside the update branch, I did not create a new file. I went and modified the content of the readme file and probably adjusted something inside. When I run this git merge, it's going to automatically override the content that was inside the main branch. Okay, so it's just bringing all the updates, all the feature that was made inside this update branch to the main branch. So now that we have this, we can then go ahead and if I should run git status now, it's going to prompt me that your branch is ahead of the origin main by 1 commit. That means I've added a new commit from from that update branch to the new branch, to this main branch. So I need to push this to to the main branch. So all I need to do is to run git push, and everything is going to sup. You can see this one did not request for any password or anything. Okay, I'm not sure if this thing actually pushed, but I think it did. Okay, it did push. Okay, so if I should go to GitHub and then refresh this, I'm now going to have what you can see. I have the sample file. I've already merged the update branch to this new branch. That means that's why I have these sample files here. But I had it locally before. I ran git push to push it to the remote server, which is GitHub. I think somebody is raising up his hands. Please kindly talk. You can unmute and you can talk.
Please, it's regarding PAT.
Yeah.
You mentioned that it's not possible to get the code again once you go off the page and come back.
Yeah.
And also regarding the expiration date, first, is it possible to readjust the expiration date later? Then the PAT, is there no like maybe way to retrieve it even
You
if it's no
can
longer available?
retrieve it. There's a way you can retrieve it, but you won't be retrieving the same one. You'll be given a new one. There's what we call
But
regenerate. You have to regenerate the token. Let me go
okay,
back there. Let me just explain that one before I forget. So all you just need to do,
thank
let's
you
say you've
very much.
forgotten the token. You did not actually save the token. Just go back to setting. Just the same way you want to go back to your developer settings. Go back to the classic token. Then this is the new token that we created. You've forgotten the token. Right? Just click on the new token. Then come and what? Regenerate the token.
Okay.
Just click on regenerate the token. When you click on regenerate the token, it's now going to prompt you back to come and set the expiration of the newly generated token. You can then change it to whichever expiration. Let's say the token expire. This is what you can actually do for you to change the expiration date, just like the question that you asked just now. I didn't be the token
Okay.
expire or you've forgotten the token, just come and regenerate it, then set a new what expiration date, probably 90 days or whichever one, then what regenerate is going to give you another what another token. Then copy it
And
and
I can
yes,
use this new
yeah, you can now
token
use
to,
this
let's
new
say I
one. You
want
can
to work
see, let me paste
on.
it here. You can see
Okay.
it is different. It's not the same thing. I'm not sure if you can see my screen. I can't zoom in on this thing. I don't know why. Sorry, I can't
I
zoom in
can
on
zoom in
this.
for me.
Okay, you can
It's
see
not
the
the
token
same.
is not the same. This is a newly generated token. So it is now this newly generated token. You now need to come and what? Let me copy it. Come and do it on your, come and readjust, come and set that command that we ran where we're setting this git remote set. You can see this token is no longer valid because we've generated another one. Okay, let me prove it to you. Let's make an adjustment to one of the file. Let me make an adjustment to that sample.c file and come and do, let me put a new line character here. So you will get to know what this /n is, new line character. Let me save it. Now I've already what modified. Let me run the git status again. I've already modified the file. So what I need to do is to git add bar. So git add the file. Now I want to teach you something, but don't let me teach you for now. So git add, git commit, probably with a message. Let me just say fix let me just say fix program files. Let me just say program file. Okay, I've committed. So the next thing I want to do is to run what git push. It's not going to push because what I've already regenerated a new token. That means the old token is no longer what valid. That's why it's requesting for password. Understand? That
Yes.
old token, this old token is no longer valid since we've already regenerated that same one because we forgot to copy or probably the expiration date elapsed. It has already expired. So what you just need to do is just to run this git remote git remote set URL, then paste the new token here. Sorry, I'm just going to do this. So let me go and copy. Why do I keep? Let me go and copy the newly generated token here, then paste it here. Just make sure it is git remote set -url origin then followed by the address, that's https:// your personal access token at github.com / your username / the name of the repo .git. That's the format, that's the syntax. So when you do this, it has already configured it with the what? With the new token. So now I'm going to run the git push now. It shouldn't prompt me for what? For password. It's just going to push it straight. Voila. As simple as that.
Thank you.
All right. So I don't know if there's another person that has another question. We're already almost few minutes to 9. I think I should draw the curtain here. So if you have a question, ask a question now. So let's take your questions. Samuraji, go ahead. Let me check the income message. Okay.
Yeah. I want to confirm why Git remote different from Git clone.
And what did you say?
Because I said it's Git remote is different from Git clone.
Oh, Git remote is different
Sorry,
from
did you
Git
get that?
clone. Okay. Clone, okay, okay, let me just talk about that. I not even talk about that at all. Okay. Now, like I said, when I was actually creating this new repo, I made mention that there are actually two major ways, two popular ways of you sending your project to GitHub. Is either you create a new repository from your local, then you now push it to your what? To your GitHub, or you create the repo, or you push, they call it existing repo. I've forgotten the two. When you create a new repo, you are going to see the prompt. Okay, you are going to see the prompt. Okay, let's say for instance, okay, we've already done the first one. Let me teach you the second one. This one we did not clone any repo at all. We did everything from our local terminal, locally on our system. Then we push the whole the whole repo to to GitHub straight. Another way is for you to first create the repo on your GitHub, then clone that repo on your local terminal, and then continue with your project. Okay, let me walk you through that process of the second way. And this one will require me to, let's say for instance, I don't want to say for instance, should I create another repo? Please give me a minute. I'm just thinking of a way for you to,
Sorry, I get it already now.
you
If
already
no
get
other
it
person
back.
is,
Okay, let's
I
say,
think you should not go over the question.
yeah. I don't want to create another. All you just need to do, let's say this is the repo that you want to, this is an existing repo already on your GitHub. You've already created this repo. All you need to do is to copy this address. I will keep referring to this to an address, to the URL of your repo. Then go to your terminal, navigate to any directory that you want. So let me just navigate to another place. Okay, navigate to any directory you want, and then run this command git clone, so that you have a copy of that repository that is on your GitHub account locally on your system. So, and paste this. Remember, when you are cloning, always put your personal access token here, so that it will not request for password anytime you want to push. Okay, this is another way. So you clone the repo with this. If you are cloning it, you don't need to set that git remote set your add your origin or thereabout I was talking about in the first approach. So I'm just going to, let me go and copy that personal access token here. This is another directory entirely. Okay, so it's cloning my project. So if I have to navigate into the project, which is called my project. So I have everything from there. So let's say, for instance, I want to make a change to this file. Let me just say vi file. Let me add another line to this. I for insert. Let me just say this is the second approach. Okay, escape :WQ. There's another way you can actually press :X, which is also another way of saving and quitting. Okay, just to confirm, let's cat file. We have this is a Git, and this is the new line that I just added. Okay, so I can now do what Git add the name of the file that I just made changes to, which is just file. Then I can do git commit with my message. Let me just say new line added to file. Okay, then I can now run the git push. This is not going to request for password or anything, it's just going to push. That's because when I was cloning, I cloned with what? With my personal access token. That means I've given it a permission that what? That it can push to GitHub without requesting for password. You just put in this so this is the second approach. Just after creating the repo, clone it. Or the first approach was we creating the repo on our computer, on our terminal. That's running the git init to initialize the directory into a repo, then adding the files that we want to add, make changes, git add, git commit. Then after doing that, we now need to connect the remote, the local repo to the remote repo by using that git remote add origin, then the address of that repo that is on our GitHub. Then the second approach is by what? Is by creating the repo on our GitHub, then what? Cloning that repo with this command git clone, then the address of the repo that we created there, then making sure that we put our personal access token at github.com. Whichever approach that we use, they are still the same thing. So it's either you go for the first one or you go for the second one. Most people prefer the second one. Okay, so that they won't have to go through the process of doing the git add git remote add blah 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 blah. All you just need to do is just to git clone https:// or your PTA, then the address of your of that repo that you want to clone to your local computer. I think this is the output that ALX even gave you. All right, so I believe that's already sort out your question. There is actually so much more to learn about Git and GitHub, so much more. There's what we call about conflict. We did not even talk about that. There's what we'll talk about, how to ignore files and the likes of them. Probably another time. I don't want this recording to be too long. So at this point, I will just draw the curtain. So is there any other question before I call it a day? Is there any other question?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, please ask a question.
Yes, I have.
All right, go ahead.
Can I go ahead?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Is it my network? Can you guys hear me?
Can you guys hear me?
My network
Can
is
you hear
good
me?
now. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. My
Can you hear
network
me?
is okay. Can anybody else hear me? Someone should confirm that
Like
he
the
or she can
previous
hear me.
task that we did,
I'm hearing
so I
you.
made a mistake in my update script master branch.
Okay.
So while I git push to the repository,
Yeah.
I went back to the master branch. I could not find the bash directory. So I have to start all over again. For me to now git push again, everything became something else for me.
Oh, okay. Don't worry. Do you know what? Probably
Yes, I can hear you.
you are still on the onboarding section, but onboarding week, but probably someone else should answer that question.
Yes, but we started a new task today.
Okay, what's the name of the tax?
It's on shell and Emacs, then vagrant optional.
Okay, shell Emacs vagrant optional. Okay. Don't worry. Probably later on we'll walk you through that project on its own. Okay, because since you are going to be dealing with Git and GitHub, because that project, they are still going to give you that same project again, that same Git and GitHub project, probably next week or something. They are still going to redo the project again, but with another name, another repo name. But for now, what we can do for you, probably before this week runs out, we are going to solve the task together and understand everything that we need to understand there. I think that will help you. But if you're still having issue, just message DM me so that I can explain to you personally. Okay, so you can just DM me so that I can explain personally if you have an issue with your Git and GitHub project. So I
Please,
think
how do we get your contact?
I'm this guy on your group chat, DRK Gaffer. I'm sure you've seen me. I'm the person that
Hello?
posted the meeting link. Just look for DRK Gaffer.
Okay,
Yeah, DRK
thank you.
Gaffer. Yeah, just look for DRK Gaffer. That's me. Wow. Okay. I think that's the last you can go. All right then. I think at this junction, you guys can have a wonderful night ahead.
You too, thank you very much.
Yeah, take care of yourself. So bye for now.
And you too. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice sleep.
You're welcome. Bye everybody.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
I'm going to end the meeting for all. Thank you so much. All right, you're welcome.